Well, this here is the all-new Toyota Innova Hycross, and this car comes with a hybrid engine. Officially, it slots below the Fortuner and just above the Crista. This is one of those few cars which doesn't really need any gimmicks or shouty YouTubers to sell it, because it's a very good car in terms of space, practicality, as well as luxury. So we'll start off this review by talking about the back seat and the last row first, because this car is all about the back seat experience. And of course, after that, we'll jump in the front and drive it around and show it to you what all it has to offer. If you've come to this channel for the first time, please subscribe, and if you've come here before, then please like the video. The first thing you'll also notice about this car is the length of the door. The length really is massive, because the focus completely is on the back seat, and that's always been a key strength of the Innova brand, and the new Hycross wants to take that up another notch. Let's start with the video. Well, so sorry guys, I just went into dozing mode over there because the seats are so comfortable. Let me show you this part of the seat first, and then I'll get to the other bits. You can easily have both the occupants here in the ottoman seats, where they can lie almost completely flat, and you can just go off to sleep. These are very comfortable seats, and in this position I am so happy and so delighted in terms of the sleep factor. The seat comfort is better than any curl-on mattress, and really Toyota have outdone themselves with the back row, the second row of the new Innova Hycross. Anyways, now let me put the seat back up and show what all it has to offer. Well, so now I'm in the second row of the Innova cabin, and this really is the business end. If you have someone who does a lot of traveling on business class airliners, you'll really enjoy the seats over here. What you'll really like is, of course, the fact that you can move the lower part of the seat right all the way up. It's called the ottoman seat, and this, of course, supports your thighs and under thighs. So if you're someone who wants to just doze off like this, you want to have this reclining back position, then you can just do this. And of course, you can tell your driver to drive and not disturb you because you're sleeping. Of course, always remember to welt up and wear your seat belts when you're driving. I'm not wearing it because I'm showing it in static form. So that's something which is there on this car. You also get a couple of USB Type-C charging points. Floorboard is completely flat. Your own AC vents and your own climate control zone at the back. The first time, was offering a climate control zone at the back, and of course, huge window which I've covered. I can show them to you. Huge window, so you can see out, and the cabin feels very big and very nice, and also a big, massive panoramic sunroof, which really makes the cabin feel much bigger than it already is. Now, of course, if you don't want to use the ottoman seats and you just want to use them regularly, you can always use the armrest here or pull out this tray, keep a cup of beverages, a big sandwich, something, and eat it with your boss or your colleague or whoever, and generally talk about that business deal which you wanted to do but couldn't do it because you were driving in a much inferior car. Anyways, full marks to Toyota for giving such a nice rare seat, and this has always been a strength of the Toyota Innova, and I think they've taken the game one notch up with this particular version. So now I'm in the second row of the XUV700 seats, and as always, I was just in the front seat for my height and driving position. My height, for reference, is 5'10", in case you've just forgotten. So if your chauffeur is also about 5'10", 5'11", maybe even 6, and you're also roughly the same height, you'll be quite okay in these seats. Now, in terms of pure isolation, it's a good place to be. But if you compare it with other cars in this segment, especially with the Safari, I think the Safari offers you more space. It's at par with the Hyundai Alcazar. It's more or less the same. But I think the Safari has the advantage over both these cars. Now, this is not a comparison today, but still, since that car is also out there for competition, we'll have to talk about those things as well. The seat comfort is quite good. Overall, backrest angle is good, and you also get good support for your under thighs. And what's best about this car is that the floor panel, the floorboard, is almost flat. So if you have an occupant here in the middle, he'll have plenty of place to stretch his feet. Also, nice and large windows, which makes this cabin feel nice and airy, and a huge panoramic sunroof, which when it opens up, it does add to the feeling of sitting inside a nice and airy cabin. And of course, if you don't want to sit with 3 and only 2, you also get a couple of beverage holders over here. And just before I end, I'll tell you that the ISOFIX points also for the child seat are nicely located, so you can easily find them and keep your child safe and comfortable. Well, so now inside the front seats of the Innova's cabin, the Hycross's cabin, and I have to say that not only is this car bigger and better in terms of luxury, it's also great in terms of the overall features list. This car really is loaded with all the best equipment. You get automatic headlamps, rain sensing wipers, blind spot assist, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, as well as a big JBL touchscreen. And the JBL sound system is fantastic. 9 speakers, including fizzle, etc. And the sound quality truly is brilliant. You also get nice controls for the AC over here. And the front seats are cooled, auto hold function, electric handbrake, drive mode, E mode, and of course traction control is there. And the seats are the best in the business. They've always been the best. and this one takes the game one level up. It really is fantastic in terms of the comfort. Now the front seats are electrically adjustable, and of course the steering wheel adjusts both for rec as well as for reach. So finding a comfortable position is a very easy breezy affair. What you'll also like is the quality. The quality inside the cabin is absolutely first rate. All the materials, everything, the plastics, the switch cap is made from first rate materials, and you'll really miss nothing on this car. You also get two charging points, Type C and the old school one, and of course 12-volt chargers over here, wireless charging for mobile phone, and a big box where you can keep a lot on. So up really is very deep and spacious. Huge panoramic sunroof, which I've already showcased. So really, in terms of the equipment, in terms of the ambience, in terms of just the features, this is a fantastic place to be in. Seat comfort also is genuinely very good. 10 out of 10 to the front end of the Hycross. Well, I'm inside the cabin now of the XUV700. It's not the 700, it's 700. Now, in terms of the sheer quality levels, it is quite good and improved from the earlier version. But even then, I think that there's some room for improvement because these switches still have a little bit of flimsiness about themselves for the AC. And these ones are exactly the same in terms of looks from the earlier version of the car. Now, why has Mahindra done this? I really don't know, but the quality could have been better. It's not got that plush feeling of the Hyundai Creta or the Alcazar even now, but other than that, in terms of features, it's a very rich cabin to be in. You of course get a 10 screen here for the infotainment. It gets Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and 60 connected apps. Yes, it gets 60 connected apps, and you get a host of apps over here. You get the Zomato app, you get a lot of other apps as well, which really makes it a connected car. And you also get the Alexa voice enabled commands inside the car without your phone. It's embedded inside the system over here, so you don't need your phone to connect your car with Alexa. The digital dials also look very sharp and very premium. New logo of course over here. And the other equipment in this car, well, it includes auto hold function, it includes this brake of course is now a button. You don't get a lever for the handbrake, and automatic climate control, and a total of 7 airbags, different driving modes. Also, you get ADAS system inside this car with radar as well as camera. Now, the ADAS is additional driving advanced system for the safety of the driver. So, ADAS really helps you in terms of the lane departure, in terms of blind assistance. A lot of help it gives you when you're driving this car on the road, especially on the highway. So, it's a very safe car in that sense as well. And of course, you get a couple of beverage holders over here, wireless charging for mobile phone over here, and of course the seats also are electrically adjustable because it's a premium car, so seats have to be electrically adjustable, and the button for them is over here on the driver's door panel and not on the seat itself. Now of course Mahindra has taken this from Mercedes, who always have it over here, so that's one feature they've copied from Mercedes. Overall, what I think of the car, well, it has a nice ambience, good quality, but overall the plastic quality could have slightly been better to compete with the likes of the Hyundai, and even the Tata Safari feels like it is better bolted together. Overall though, no complaints about the features list on the XUV700. Well, so quickly let's show you the boot of the XUV700. Now, in terms of the overall space, as you can see with all the rows up, the last two seats rather up, there's very little space, and of course you can adjust the backrest angle a little bit, so you can make it a little more upright. And even then, I think only a couple of bags will fit in, so it's not really the ideal car when your mother-in-law is coming in, because her bags won't fit in, because mother-in-laws normally come for at least 2 weeks, and maybe just 5 or 6 days, that's the amount of luggage this car will be able to take. But of course, if you decide to buy the 5-seat version and store away these seats, then you get massive loading capacity, huge capacity, and really one of the biggest boots on offer. So I think people who are buying the 5-seat version will be very happy, and people who are buying the 7-seat version, well, they'll mostly be keeping 2 of these seats hidden away. Now, I won't be jumping in the seats. I'll show some visuals of these seats to you, because they don't really have the greatest amount of space in terms of legroom or headroom. But of course, I will be showing them to you in visuals, and you can make out your mind for yourself. For the benefit though of people who want to buy the 7-seat version, you get a 12-volt charging point at the back, and you also get AC vents which can be controlled through this regulator for the airspeed as well. So it's a decent place to be in, but too tight for someone who's about 5'10" or 5'11" like me. 5'6" people will be quite okay in the last row. So by now, all of you are aware that Woodmo are the online expert when it comes to spare parts, and the best point is that they have the spare parts for all vehicles available in India. So even if your car is out of production now, maybe you have a last generation model, even then they have the spare part available. They have the entire catalog, and the best point is that they have the same spare part from a host of different component makers, which gives you great flexibility in the pricing overall. So check them out today. Check out the app. It's available both for iOS as well as Android devices, and also check out the website for the latest schemes as well as offers. Well, so now I'm in the last row of the Innova Hycross's cabin, and as you can see, there's loads of knee room, loads of headroom as well. My for reference is 5'10" in case you've forgotten or you've come back to this channel after a long time. And both rows have been adjusted for my height. So if you have all three rows with 5'10" occupants, then you'll have great amount of place over here. Now Toyota is saying it's a 3-seater at the back, and I think you can sit 3. You can of course move these seats in terms of the backrest angle a little bit. You can slide them like this all the way back, so it's practical as well. And you also get beverage holders on both sides. You also get a charging point, 12-volt charging point over here, and AC vents to keep you cool. So I think no reasons to complain, because this is the best last row of seats that I've ever seen on any car. And Toyota really have outdone themselves with the space, comfort, as well as the luxury opulence inside this cabin. Well, so let's really tell you about the boot on this car. The boot is quite spacious, as you can see, with all the rows up. Of course, you can move the backrest completely back. Even then, I think a couple of big bags and maybe one small bag will easily fit. Of course, if you want to increase the loading capacity, you can drop the seat down, one of them down, and use this other one. So it can easily be used even as a 5-seater, and there's a load of space available, huge loads of space available. So really, I think as in terms of practicality, in terms of spaciousness, in terms of just the overall, space on offer, Innova is right up there with the best in the business. And the best point is that it's a power tailgate, so all you do is just press this button over here and the tailgate will close without you putting in any effort whatsoever. So I think Toyota has done a great job. So if this video is sounding very positive and very biased in favor of Toyota, then don't blame me, blame them for making such a nice car. The Innova Hycross really is a substantially good product. So here I'm driving the diesel version of the XUV700. Now you also can choose petrol, but today we've only got the diesel with us. We've not got the petrol. We've only got the manual today. There's also an automatic on offer, but we're only driving the manual. First of all, let me get the negative bit out of the way. The negative bit is that this engine does suffer from a little bit of clatter, a little bit of noise when you rev it hard, and also there's a little bit of vibration which does enter the gearbox and the clutch pedal at certain RPMs. Not always, but certain RPMs you can feel the clutch as well as the gearbox with those vibrations on it. So that's something which is a bit of a negative. It's not the class leader in terms of ultimate refinement. It is a class leader in terms of the overall power output, but not in terms of the ultimate refinement. I think the Hyundai Creta as well as the Alcazar still have the advantage in both two areas. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about the performance of this car, because the performance really is brilliant. And as I said, this is the most powerful car in the segment. 185 bhp on offer. It's more powerful than both its main rivals, the Harrier Safari or the Alcazar Creta. So it's more powerful than both those cars, and it does show when you really push it on the highway. You can feel that little bit of extra power that this car has, and it has the edge in terms of outright power delivery. On the other positive side, the suspension setup is quite nice. It does soak in the bumps, and even the sharpest of sharp crevices hardly make their presence felt inside the cabin. So that's something which buyers will truly appreciate, and that's something which a lot of people who drive on long distance journeys will like. The gearbox, the manual that we've driven today, is nice to operate. It's a big improvement over the earlier version of the car, a huge improvement over that gearbox, and it just is nice and slick to operate. It's still got to use a heavy hand to shift, but even then you can say that in terms of the usage pattern, it is quite decent and something that most buyers will appreciate over the previous version. The clutch action though is okay. It's nothing earth-shattering. I think it's at par with the Safari and the Harrier's clutch. So in terms of the weight, there is certain weight which goes into it, and it is a heavy clutch. It's not a very light clutch, but because it is a 2.2, it's a big engine, I think you can easily forgive it for having a heavy clutch. Other than that, what do I like about this car? Well, the visibility is excellent. You get excellent view from here because you can see the edge of the bonnet. So if you're a new driver, or maybe you've just bought your first big SUV, you've said, I don't want a compact SUV, I want a big SUV, then you've got a 4.7 meters in length SUV, you can see the edges of this car because the rear mirrors are good, plenty of kit to show you with the 360 bird's eye view, and of course this one also is nice and large. The steering wheel feedback, well, it is communicative, but it has a certain artificial feel to itself, and it's not very light. It's a heavy steering wheel. It's not an overtly light steering wheel, especially on the diesel version that I'm driving at the moment. So I won't say that it's a very light steering wheel, but yes, it does feel a little artificial in terms of the usage pattern, but it's okay, nothing really to complain about, except that maybe if it was a little lighter, then it would have been a little nicer to drive if you were someone who drives a lot within city limits. Ride comfort though is very good both on the highway and within the city. And overall, the kind of scoring that I would give this car is 8 out of 10. The Creta slash the Alcazar still have the advantage because they have a very refined engine, and that engine just seems to work very well with the entire package. It feels refined, it feels peppy. This one, it's not as refined, but yes, it is powerful. But to each his own. Some people prefer the refinement and the smoothness of the Creta and the Alcazar, but some of you might say, well, I'd rather prefer a little more gruffness, but I want an engine which offers me a little more power because I drive a lot on the highways. So if you're someone who drives a lot on the highways, high distance journeys, etc., definitely the car to go for. But yes, if you are someone who is mostly driving within city limits, then the Creta and the Alcazar are much easier to drive and definitely feel lighter on their feet as well. And agility wise also, they feel a little more agile than this car. Let me just tell you before starting off that this car is a hybrid. It's a strong hybrid. It's not a mild hybrid setup. And of course, along with the petrol motor, which is a 2-liter petrol, you also get a battery pack which helps this car get better fuel efficiency. And right now we're in EV mode, the car is on. Yes, it is completely on, switched on, and you can't hear anything. You can only hear some buses and some traffic going behind me, but that's also very minimal because the cabin also feels very well cocooned from everything else outside. So that's something that buyers will really appreciate. That's something you won't appreciate because loud honking is something very irritating wherever you are across India, but that's something you have to live with. What you'll also appreciate about this car is the fact that it's very quiet, as I said, because it's an EV. I mean, it starts off with EV mode, and when you start off, and even when the petrol motor kicks in, even on the highway, it is quite good in terms of the noise and vibration levels. Everything is really quiet and very smooth inside this car. Toyota really have changed the game with the Innova brand, and people who are used to the early version of the car, the Innova Crista, which essentially sold only in diesel, or primarily sold in diesel, will really enjoy driving this car. And why will they enjoy driving this car? Because it's petrol, first of all, so that's a very big change. And being a petrol means that there's no weight of the diesel engine up front. And the second thing is that it is built on a monocoque chassis. It's not built on a ladder-on frame, so everything feels better in terms of the driving bits. Steering feels lighter. It feels more accurate. The suspension also feels better, and the suspension feels better simply because the wheelbase has been extended and the tires are much fatter than before. So that's also a big benefit of this car. And the ride quality is also something that a lot of buyers will truly enjoy on this package. They'll really appreciate the ride comfort, no matter what speed you're doing, slow speeds, faster speeds on the highway like I'm doing right now. You'll just enjoy the experience inside, and that's something which a lot of customers will appreciate, especially when you travel with your family. What you'll also like is the visibility. If you're someone who's driving himself, you can easily see the edges of the bonnet. Rear mirrors are nice and chunky, and of course this mirror here also is nice and big, and you of course get blind spot assist and stuff like that, which aids visibility even further. So these are things which really help you drive this car when you're driving it yourself, and that's something which a lot of customers will also appreciate about the Innova. If there are any negative bits, well, I think that some YouTubers might say that this car feels a little boring to drive. It's not as exciting as maybe some SUVs at the same price point. But remember that MPVs and people movers are really meant for comfort and luxury and opulence, and in all those areas this car excels. So don't listen to those YouTubers because MPVs aren't really meant to be driven hard, and they aren't really meant to be taken on the racetrack, and that's not really the Innova's forte. It's never been. So yes, the steering wheel is a little light, and sometimes you can say that it could have been a little better in terms of engagement, but really you don't get everything in the same package. It's a very good car for comfort, very good car for refinement, very good car for fuel efficiency. Official claim figures in excess of 21. The current speeds we're doing on the highway, we're getting figures of 18 on the MIDA. We're not testing it for fuel efficiency, but the MIDA is showing 18 plus.